all, then.
He couldn't have been in the apartment.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. This is... Oh.
Here, let's just try.
Okay, so at least we know that he definitely didn't go inside the apartment because there was no blood found in the apartment.
Yeah. So Mr. Scott's apartment is out of the question.
Which brings us back to, so
Unless
then
he bleached
how did
it.
he encounter Mr. Scott, and why, and like who killed him?
Well, unless they bleached their carpet or something.
They would still find blood stains.
Oh yeah, like
Or black light.
from UV light or anything, yeah, okay.
Unless he wobbled outside, like, to the front, like, going to run for help, and somehow his wife and Mr. Scott were outside, and they were like, oh, we'll help you, and without thinking twice, because it's his wife, he got in the car and she stabbed him.
What motive would
But then
Mr.
that's too, like, there's no way that could have been planned out, because it's not like, unless like,
Maybe they didn't plan it. Maybe she saw him by accident, and instead of, like, freaking out,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, so she just like randomly was like, this is like the perfect time to kill him, so I'm just gonna kill him. Like, it's a little too spontaneous. Because my only thing is, like,
Encouraging
the
the
only
crowd.
way it could have been planned is if Mr. Scott and his wife knew Mr. Jones was gonna shoot.
Were they
Mr.
all
Kelly.
in on it? Were they all in on it? Like, okay, Miss Smith is what confuses
Yeah,
me.
she's like the
She's like,
curveball that gets thrown
yeah,
in.
she's
Like,
the outlier. I don't know what's going on there. Oh god. Oh. Ugh, this is making me
it's like a really intense game of Clue.
Mhm. He is. Of course he couldn't have been in Mr. Scott's apartment if the elevator man was the one who saw him with the blood coming from his thigh or whatever. He was
Right.
like, he's not too hurt. So he either saw him in the elevator or in the lobby.
Right.
Elevator man saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25.
So does Mr. Scott live on the first floor? Like, how does...
So wait a minute, so he did go to Mr. Scott's room.
Yeah.
So he was in his apartment.
Then that's weird because, like, how is this apartment mapped out for the elevator man to see him go
Unless
into...
he's on the first floor.
Yeah. I guess because if you're the elevator man, you're gonna know where people live. I feel.
So then he got stabbed at Mr. Scott's apartment. Okay, so he was in the apartment.
What if
But
they
then it's
didn't
weird
use-
that they just didn't find any blood within the apartment.
What if they didn't use the blood lights?
Bad cops. Unless they just aren't telling us that piece of information about Mr. Scott's
There's
apartment.
this one piece of information that we just need, and I don't know how to get it.
Because, like, regardless if he wasn't stabbed in Mr. Scott's apartment, like, his leg was bleeding out. Even if they tied it up or something, there had to be bloody bandages, bloody something in that house. Because his leg was wounded.
Already bleeding, right?
There's, like, if it's in the hall, it has to be in the apartment. Like, that's...
Did he see him walk into Mr. Scott's apartment, or he saw him going toward Mr. Scott's apartment?
Elevator man just saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25 a.m. That's it. Doesn't really emphasize if he went inside or. So he probably just saw him go on to the floor.
Maybe he never went in. Maybe he knocked on the door
Maybe.
and saw his wife there.
And what?
But wouldn't no one see him leave? Like, wouldn't the elevator man have saw
Oh, there
saw
are,
him
like,
leave?
Well,
back
he was
exits?
found in the garage.
That's what-
I mean, in the car. So maybe they went to the garage. They never left out
Yeah.
the front.
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking, because I was saying if Miss Smith said that she didn't see anyone leave from 12:25 to 12:45, it was like either the garage or like a back entrance.
Because the blood was found in the car, so
Mhm.
they went to Mr. Scott's car, so they had to have gone through the garage. So they never
So
went
through
out
a
the
back
lobby.
exit though.
So while she was waiting for him to leave, because she's his like
So
a
what if
stalker.
Mr. Scott was really trying to help
Take him to the
hospital,
hospital, to
or
get
something?
him
He's
patched
like,
up.
holy, yeah, and then like he went, but then it doesn't explain like where his wife comes in and
His
why
wife's
he was
there.
stabbed. Like, what if she did it?
His
Like,
wife's
what
probably
if?
with him, like going to the hospital to get him stitched up or
But
something.
think about it. If you're having like, not even if you're having an affair, it's like she was in his apartment. So if he came knocking on the door like, I need your help or something, I guess. Like, I feel like he would tell her like, hi, like don't. I don't know if he would be like, come with us, because then he'd be like, why were you in his apartment? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then
And then
it
she
doesn't explain
disappeared.
who stabbed him, and then why did the weapon end up in Mrs. Smith's backyard?
Stupid Mrs. Smith. Who are you? I don't know who you are. What do you have to do with this? Alright. Okay, I only have 2 things that are related to her in this.
Yeah, same. I
Okay,
mean, 2
let's get
things.
something about Mrs. Smith. Do you have something about Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
What do you have about her?
She often followed Mr. Kelly, and she was in the lobby of the apartment when the elevator man went off duty. That's the only things I have about her.
She was out of the apartment?
Like, she was just in the lobby of the apartment building
Okay.
when he left to get off duty.
Okay, so what do you have about Miss Smith?
She saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Jones' apartment at 11:55.
She was there for a while then.
Correct.
We know
she
that she
followed
was-
him basically
yeah.
from 11:55 to 12:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in that building.
If she was waiting that long, she was waiting there for a purpose.
And if she saw him go into Mr. Jones, like, okay, if she's like originating like her stance in the lobby, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't Mr. Jones have to live on the first floor too for her to see? Unless
Probably.
like,
So let's
yeah.
just say they both live on the first floor,
Yeah.
and then he wobbled.
Hi, I'm from Professor Yankovic's class. She said that there was a study I could.
Okay, well, we're still in the study, so.
Oh,
it's not-
sorry.
Okay, all right, if you could wait, that would be great,
Okay.
thank you.
how many things do you have about her?
I have 2. It says Miss Smith said that nobody left the apartment between 12:25 and 12:45, and the knife was found in her backyard. Basically.
And what do you have about her?
Just that she saw him go into Mr. Jones' apartment at 11:55.
She was there for a while, so we know that.
She had to. She was basically in the apartment building from 11:55 to 12:45.
Yeah. She had to be there for what
And Mr.
purpose,
Scott's
though?
wife was in. Mr. Kelly's wife was in Mr. Scott's apartment since 11:30.
Oh.
So she gets there at 11:30. Her husband gets there at 11:55 to go to a different guy's apartment. The Smith lady creeps up behind him.
Okay, so his wife, he left the apartment. His wife, Mr. Scott's, he went to Mr. Jones at 11:55. He could have like went over with the intentions of trying to work things out or something. It escalated. He ended up getting hurt, so he tries to go to his friend's apartment to try to get help. I feel like if he went to Mr. Scott's apartment to try to get his help, because there was blood in the hall, so he probably like knocked and like, I feel like his wife would have hid. Like, I don't think she would have came out and been, even though it's like a concerning thing, it's like she would have been exposed, and whatever she was doing in his apartment would have been exposed too. I feel like she just hid, or like he told her to hide, because none of her prints are anywhere, and she didn't like
And it said that she disappeared
appeared
after the
afterward.
murder. Now, the knife that was found in Miss Smith's yard, the one that had Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it, and the one that had, what's his name's blood on it, Mr. Kelly, is it the same knife?
Oh my
But
god.
then, like-
Okay, wait. And then go ahead. I'm
But then
thinking.
also then why? But then okay, if she hid, fine. But then why would she disappear if he wasn't
Maybe
dead?
he killed both of them. Where's Mrs. Kelly?
Why would Mr. Scott kill Miss
There
Kelly?
could be two different knives though.
Unless
Somebody
Mr.
might want to frame Mr. Scott. What if that's possible? And then Mr. Jones disappeared, right? What if Mr. Scott works for Mr. Kelly?
Mhm.
And then they're both like
And he's
business
having
partners?
an affair with his wife.
Yeah. I don't
It's possible.
yeah. I mean, it's a messed up world. We don't really know.
But
what
why
to
would
do.
someone kill his wife if he didn't kill her?
What if Mr. Kelly killed his wife?
Like, that's the only thing I can see, but then
And then Mr. Scott killed Mr. Kelly. And things
Poor
just
Kelly,
got out
his
of
wife.
hand.
so was the night that killed Miss Kelly. Because she
Maybe it's the
disappeared
one
too.
with Mr. Scott's blood on. I don't know.
That's too much for one person to carry two dead people out. And then why would you leave one out in the open
There
and
has to
hide
be
the other
blood
one?
in the apartment. There has to be so much blood there. Though.
Yeah, because if he
Yeah.
never, there's no blood in the apartment, then he never killed him or Miss Kelly. Like, no one died in that apartment or got injured.
So he knocks
It
on the
couldn't,
door.
it couldn't happen in the hallway. Someone would come up and be like, what's going on?
So he knocks. Okay, let's go with like the business partner thing. So maybe he knocks on the apartment, like asking for help.
Yeah.
He goes out the garage to the car.
Mm-hmm. That's where, and then his blood's found all over. Well, he's bleeding now.
I really think his wife stabbed him. I
I-
don't know why.
I don't
I
know,
just
I
like
think
see her in the
that's it.
back seat stabbing
I just don't see her
It
motive
says-
because
because she wants to run away with Mr. Scott. Now they're both gone.
Okay, so say we say that Mr. Scott and Mr. Jones both.
but
live
just
in the
because
same
they're
floor.
gone doesn't mean they're alive.
Maybe they could be dead, buried somewhere.
But then
So
who killed them?
kill
Mrs.
them.
Smith? She killed everyone.
She has to have a
They're
role
all
in this.
buried in her yard.
She has to have a role in this because Mr. Scott won't just. I don't feel like he would just. I'm gonna plant it in Miss Smith's yard when it has his fingerprints on it. Like, I don't know. She has a role in this somewhere.
Maybe when he was knocking on Mr. Scott's apartment door, Miss Smith stabbed him in the back. And then Mr. Scott was like,
There's
what the heck
only-
is going on? And they took him into the car and they drove him to the park and he died.
There's only blood outside Mr. Jones's apartment. Only blood there. That's all we
Oh,
know.
only in Mr.
There's-
Jones's.
There's only outside in the hall of Mr. Jones's apartment, so he would have gone outside. Something might have happened to Mr. Jones. Something might have happened to.
But then again, like, if it's only out there, if you're like bleeding and the elevator man saw him bleeding,
Yeah.
so like blood
He
has to
probably
be
was just
somewhere
shocked.
else. Other,
Right.
it can't just
Even
be
if
in
it's
the
in
hall.
front of
like,
Mr. Scott's apartment, like it's got to be somewhere else.
There has to be blood somewhere else.
He has to like leave a trail,
Yeah, there has to be
Like,
like
other
a
than
droplet
Mr.
trail.
Scott's
Like,
car.
yeah.
like
It
something
can't just
happened
be
in between.
like right